Hello everybody, welcome back to Kanga TV, home of North Melbourne fans, and welcome to a brand new video concept here on the channel. For those of you who know or might not know, in 2011 I started out in North Melbourne content through my blog, the North Melbourne Opinion, with the idea of sharing thoughts, feelings and opinions on the North Melbourne Football Club on a weekly basis with everyone reading at home. Now 14 years later, I've decided to bring the North Melbourne Opinion back, but this time I'm getting you guys involved. I put a call out across socials last night for anyone who wanted to jump on camera and talk about the upcoming trade period with me. I'm so grateful for everybody who responded. I was inundated with messages. So for those of you who did jump in on this first video with me today, or for those of you who expressed interest but couldn't be here on such short notice, I just want to thank all of you, because this video and this channel would not be possible without you. Particularly today's video, I have got some of the Kanga TV community, North Melbourne faithful, here on the channel to chat through their thoughts and feelings ahead of the upcoming trade period with me. I had some incredible discussions. We've got some crazy opinions and some awesome insight from some of the fans who know this club best. I would love to hear what you guys think of this style of video, if you enjoyed it, because full disclosure, I don't know if this is something that I am going to be doing moving forward. It's really going to depend, or largely will depend, on what you guys think of the video at home. So I would love to hear your feedback. Either leave your thoughts in the comments down below, or if you'd rather, send me a message on socials, Kanga TV Show, across Instagram, Facebook and X, or on email as well. I would love to hear what you guys think of this one. I'd love to hear what you think of the format, what you think of the guests, and what you think of the discussion points. I'm going to stop talking. That's all from me. I'm going to leave it up to the North Melbourne faithful, the amazing Kanga TV community. They are going to take it away in this video. I hope you enjoy. Jacob, the one and only behind Hustle and Flow, my favorite t-shirt brand. I'm wearing my Jack Darling t-shirt today. Also a North supporter. Welcome to Kanga TV and welcome to the first ever North Melbourne Opinion.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
All right. Your t-shirts are great, and we'll definitely talk about them another time here on the channel, but we want to get to the nitty-gritty of the trade period.
I'd be lying if I said I'm optimistic, because given reports lately, it doesn't look like it's going to be a great trade period for North. It might be a bit of a down one with a few key departures. So, obviously, yeah, not great, but I mean, we've been linked with a couple of fringe players at other clubs, which we always seem to be. And I'm trying to really not be negative, but it's hard to kind of get excited when, we've been doing that for a few years now. Overpaying for fringe players, or, players later in their career, and just doesn't really seem to work out. So hopefully, there is still a couple more weeks, but hopefully something big happens, like, in a good way for us.
I think there's definitely something to be said about the overpaying for North. I think in our position, it's no secret we're not a destination club on field or off field. And it's not to say the club isn't special, and it does not say that the club doesn't have potential to be in that position in the next 24, 36 months time. But you're either overpaying financially or you're overpaying with contract lengths. I mean, you look at the likes of like a Caleb Daniel or a Zach Fisher, who at the time seemed like really big recruits to come across, both of them on like 4 or 5 year deals. Upon reflection, I wouldn't have done that for either of those guys.
No, and it kind of brings me back to, remember a few years ago where our whole plan was we're going to get that big fish, whether it was DeGoey, Dustin Martin, Josh Kelly, there was another one, Andrew Gaff. And like at the time as fans, we're probably like, oh, I would love if that player was on our team. But hindsight, it's like probably a good thing it didn't happen, because imagine if we gave Andrew Gaff an 8-year deal of like whatever it was, like $1 million a year. But like, would it have worked out? Like, so yeah, the club hasn't really been careful with, like you said, how much they pay and the length that they give them. But then I also sympathise with North in terms of we're not a destination club. So for Caleb Daniel, for example, if Clarko really wants him, we're gonna have to pay overs because he might have an offer to go to Carlton, and if we offer him 200k more, he'll obviously come to us before Carlton. But Carlton are probably more appealing than North at the moment, and so it's just the situation we're in, and it's been like that for a while. So yeah, but we need to improve on field to show that we don't have to do that.
I agree with you. I also feel like the only way to improve is to have these quality senior players. Now, our youth coming through, we all know the green shoots.
Mm,
They're very, very promising. There's so many exciting players at the helm at the moment. But I think, and I've been listening to a lot of conversation on the back of the grand final and the back of Brisbane. Um, a lot of their senior guys still at Brisbane are getting the job done. We're not in
yeah.
a premiership window. We're not in the same position, but the likes of Azorko, unbelievable. Harris Andrews, he's, still in his late 20s, but still getting the job done. You even want to go
Mm,
back to the prelim and look at Geelong, and it was Danger. He was the one getting it done. So I still think there is merit to go after some of these more senior players and to bring them in. It's just being able to give them an environment where we can bring the best out of them. I think the potential of Caleb Daniel or the potential of Zach Fisher and what these guys could have been and what they could have done for the club, they haven't done it, whether it's the right environment or whether it's actually them in a team where they probably need to work a little bit harder. Maybe their role or skill set doesn't necessarily suit what we've got at North Melbourne at the
mm.
moment. I think it's really that balancing act is so, so interesting. Talk about some of those fringe players. Spargo has been named. Hugh Jackson from Port Adelaide's been named. There's a few there that could potentially make their way across to North. Any of them piqued your interest at all?
I'll be honest, no. But I did read one today, before I came on, that Kyle Langford may or maybe be a link. Um, he's had a few games where he's a weird one. He's either going to have an all-time stinker or he's going to kick a few and probably win the game off his own boot. Um, so that's good potential there. But as I said, it yeah with these fringe players, and I'm not trying to degrade them at all,
No,
but
of course.
in terms of like that's they're in and out of their current teams, but when they come to North, like let's be honest, they're probably going to play every week. Um, it and one thing you said about with like Zorko and Danger still getting it done. The thing about them is that they're natural leaders of their clubs, and they have been for a while. I think if we're going to take the model of we're going to get players at the end of their career and get players who are going to come and like help the youth, it has to be the right people. And I feel like over a few years, we've kind of got that wrong. And getting in players who may have a great resume, but maybe they're just not a natural born leader. And so I think Luke Parker and JD last year, I think I was really happy with them because they're leaders. And I think particularly with JD in the forward line, because we do have a young forward line. But I think it's just about getting the right veterans to come into the club. And I think that's one thing North need to focus on rather than just, he's a two-time All-Australian. He's obviously a really good player. Let's just bring him in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I think that's a great point. And ensure that the fit culturally is as good as what
Mm.
the resume reads and brings over. Jacob, thank you so, so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. And hopefully it's a big, exciting trade period for us North fans. Chris, welcome to Kanga TV.
Honestly, I'm a bit nervous. I feel a little bit like we are. I believe we need a backman. We need a key defender to help out our backs. We are struggling in the back line. I think our mids are good. We have good young players promising in the forward line. I think Trembath and Lark are going to be an absolute staple for us in the next few years. So I'm a bit concerned because I don't see the talented key backs out there that would be looking to join us. So then I'm looking at the next crop of backs and the next key backs that are available. And I don't know if they're going to be even at our standard. So my thing is like, are we gonna just try and develop our own backs and see how we go with that, or are we gonna be are we gonna be paying overs basically for someone that's probably not gonna be, in a team right now? Maybe I don't know who we should be aiming for. I've seen that we've been like Nate Caddy's been a big one that we've been that's been popping up. But I also think as well, Caddy, Trembath, Larky, I think it makes our forward line a bit too big. And I think from what we've seen with Brisbane and even if you look at Adelaide, who had a three key forward pronged attack, it didn't work. And in finals, I think you need to have that that the ground ball pressure effort. And I think that's our issue. If we are going to be paying overs for someone like Nate Caddy, where does that leave Trembath? Because Trembath had a really good end of the year, and I already think he could be someone special. So yeah, it's just a bit. Like I said, I'm a bit concerned. I'm a bit concerned because I just don't see the targeted player that I wish we went harder for Battle or Barras last year. Because looking at it now, if we had one of them players in far out, that could have really changed our season. To be honest.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit tricky with the key defensive stocks. Obviously, Logue and Core didn't have seasons that any of us would have predicted. Aiden Core last year, it was the first seat time in his entire career where he played every game of the season uninterrupted with injury. This year he was, in and out of the side from form and injury. Griffin Logue, in terms of his form, was probably really underwhelming, and I think we expected him to come back and be as impactful post ACL injury than he probably was. The key
Yep.
defenders that we've been linked to early on at this stage anyway are all undersized. Our key defenders, as they are undersized. They are all
Yep.
sort of sitting just under that 200 centimeter mark. So
Yep.
I think for me, if we were going to go after a key defender, the tricky thing is that Whitlock and Will Dawson are both showing great signs of development. These bigger guys and taller guys, key position players, do take a little bit longer to develop. So
Yep.
my question, I guess, is do we look to do what we've done with Jack Darling? I don't think anyone can deny the impact that Darling did have this year. He was never going to be a long-term solution, but bridging a gap while the likes of a Trembath could come through and develop, or someone up forward could kind of come through the ranks. Do we do the same thing, do you think, in defense? Someone like Stephen May is available. He'd probably have 1, if not 2 years maximum probably left on him. Is he someone, premiership player, that you'd call upon to kind of fill that gap in the short term while the likes of a Whitlock or a Dawson can get another preseason or two under their belt?
Yeah, I think we have to. I just don't. I don't think we are in a position to not take a player like a Stephen May, I know people might think about the culture fit and everything like that as well, which is a fair argument. But I just think that from a position perspective, we need a destroyer down back because Combin's a fantastic inset marker, and it would also like someone like Logue will probably relieve the pressure of being like on a third forward. And look, I completely agree with Jack Darling. I was actually very apprehensive with Jack Darling coming in. I thought he was going to be so bad. I'm from Perth, right? So I see a lot of West Coast games, and I was really concerned with Darling. But what Darling did this year was fantastic. He gave so much effort. He gave it a good shot, and he gave not probably Larky. Like Larky definitely had a better year because of him, but Zerha had a better year because he didn't have the second key defender on him. He had the third key defender, and I think that was like I think the same thing. If we get a May. That's a great shout because we just need someone to destroy the ball when it comes into the full back line, and we lose too many contested marks. And I think the truth is right, and it's funny to say this, but North, if we won a few extra games this year, we would have been sitting around 11th, 10th spot, which is absolutely nuts to think about it from a Kangas fan's perspective, right? And if you think about a good key defender that can stop a few goals in those close games, that wins us games, and that means that we go up the ranks. And we are going to be pushing to the next level very soon. It might not be next year, but it's very, very soon. And I think we all, as a fan base, expect us to do something more next year because you can see the signs. So we need to make sure that we don't let this trade period go past us, because if we do and we sit in third last again, I feel like it's just going to be a bit of like, is it actually potential, or is Clarko the right guy? All these questions will start really bubbling, and I don't think we need that because I think Clarko's done a really good job so far. we're heading in the right direction, and we need to like improve what's the most obvious factor in our team, and that's our full back line and our key defensive options.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It kind of feels like the cannon's loaded. And if we stall any longer and don't start taking some shots and really start to see that tangible improvement in terms of win-loss and ladder position improvement, I think there could be some very, very disappointed fans and a bit of unrest, actually a lot of unrest in the fan base for
What
sure.
do you think? Do you think we should go after someone like Stephen
Um,
May? Sorry.
I would not go after Stephen May particularly. Jake Lever, though, is someone I would definitely be interested in and asking the question on. There's question
Yeah,
marks whether he'll be at the D's next year or not.
yeah,
Lever, I think, is only 30 or 31, and his body may not be at the prime that it once was, but he was an excellent defender at both
yeah,
Adelaide and then at the D's for a very, very long time. And we've seen the likes of a Parker and a Darling and what they could potentially do.
yeah,
I think for that sort of short term, he's
yeah,
definitely someone I'd be really keen to get in. I think defensively, the other one I'd be keen on is Jai Sarong,
yeah,
Caleb Sarong's brother. You obviously know Caleb well, being over in Perth.
yeah,
He's got a really strong connection with Zane Littlejohn, who's just come to North from Hawthorn. That's definitely a player that I would be going after. He's only 193 centimeters, I think. So he's a little bit undersized. But they'd be the guys I'd be looking for over someone like a Stephen May, just
yeah.
knowing that we've had difficulty helping players who have been challenged culturally. We haven't been able to kind of get them on the right path. And I think we've come so far off
Mm-hmm.
field with our culture. I just
Yeah.
would hate to, and I don't think we're in a position to maybe take those risks at this stage.
I agree. We're not like at a premiership window where we can take a risk like that and it might pay off for a premiership or something like that, right? We still are building our culture and building our list as well. I'd also want to throw in the Dersma stuff. Like I'd feel really upset if we did get rid of him. I feel like he's got such untapped potential. I really feel like he could be a superstar. I know we haven't really seen it, but when you see him, he's got some class about him. And I would really like to see us really try and hold on to him even though like next year's a risk that he doesn't play, but even just trying to find a spot for him or something. I don't know with Dersma. I know we probably are gonna look at options for him, but I really think that if he's gonna be one player that I feel like if he does go, he's gonna blossom somewhere, and we're gonna be like, damn, like that our guy at one point, you know?
I know what you mean. At the moment, I would be trying to keep him for another 12 months and do everything we can to motivate him to bring the best footy out of him. But he also needs to work for it equally. I don't think he can just expect to be handed it on a silver platter. I think he needs to work hard. I think a lot of these players don't realize that they have the potential and the power to change this club.
Yeah,
I think when, and maybe it's an age thing or an experience thing, but I think when they realize that they actually hold more power than they probably realize,
yeah.
it could open so many doors. Luke, welcome to Kanga TV. Great cap, by the way, it must be said. Thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, no problems. Thank you for having me. Very exciting.
Always a pleasure. Always so great to bring some of these conversations I have with you guys every single day in my DMs to life here on the channel.
Pretty much, I just want us to get better and work as hard as we can to improve. And probably looking at a key defensive stock is probably one of the main things that I think we need to look at. Possibly a key forward. But then apart from that, I know it's hard to tell, but hopefully just that natural progression kind of pushes through. But I don't think it's all doom and gloom like a lot of people seem to think.
No, I agree with you. I think there's definitely a lot to like about the list at the moment. It might just need a little bit of tweaking and getting the right help and the right people through the door in an on and off field capacity to kind of put the finishing touches on the group before we can really charge up the ladder. You just want us to get better. There's obviously a lot of players we've been linked to already at this point, and the trade period hasn't officially started yet. How many of these players realistically do you think we need? There's obviously nice to haves, but how many of these players do you think we actually need in terms of a gaping hole in our list in the immediate term? Anyway.
I'd say probably two or three because we do also think about the list size and how many we bring in, then how many we have to cut from our existing uncontracted players and who we want to keep there. But definitely someone like a Sarong or a Jordan Butts is probably the number one priority to can lock down in that defensive post is what I really think we should be our number one priority. And then if there's anything else that comes up which will really push us up, then possibly go from there.
You mentioned uncontracted players. That's a path now I want to go down. You've piqued my interest. There's still 5 players left without a contract ahead of season 2026. Cooper Harvey, Will Phillips, Darcy Tucker, Finbar Maley, and Geordie Payne.
Yeah.
What do you have any initial thoughts on any of those guys and their future at North?
Well, personally, I wouldn't be keeping Darcy Tucker. I think his time's come, and I don't think he adds anything really. And Geordie Payne, I just don't think's up to it, and wouldn't get a game at any decent team. So I don't think we should be holding on to him. Finbar, I think he provides a fair bit of depth in that key position stock, particularly up forward if we have any injuries. So we'd like to keep Finbar. I think he's got some attributes that are really effective. Cooper Harvey, it's borderline, be a bit of X factor, but we've got Curtis and Zerha and Brayden George, even if he can get himself fit in that type of role. There's a lot of that. And then Will Phillips is an interesting one. Like, he's good for depth. Wouldn't mind holding on to him. But yeah, he's one that I'm not 100% sold on.
Yeah, I think the Will Phillips case is quite interesting. I think had you said to me 2 weeks ago, will he be at North or not, I would have said probably not. I'd say there's a 10% chance that he would be at North. But the talk around Jai Simpkin and the uncertainty about him and his position in season 2026 probably leaves the door slightly ajar now for Jai. And I remember in 2020, the day after the season ended, we delisted 11 players just like that. But I really like how we're going about it now and the approach. I think the 4 guys that were delisted at the end of the season, none of them were a surprise. I think they played like 6 or 7 senior games between them this season. So none of them were a surprise. Get them, let them kind of know where we're at then and there. And then I really like that the club's sort of holding firm, wait to see what happens during the trade period before making any further decisions. I don't think there's a rush. I don't think there's a queue specifically to sign any of these guys, no disrespect to any of them, outside of North Melbourne at the moment. I do really like that that's sort of the approach we've taken with these guys.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I think we probably hold the key with most of those guys. And their futures, to be honest. You mentioned Sarong and Butts. We'll quickly touch on them. I think the fight for Jordan Butts, quote unquote, I think it's probably cooled off a little bit given how poorly Adelaide's defense held up in the final series. I think they'd probably be looking to keep him now more so than they might have been a month ago when this initial report came up. Jai Sarong's a really interesting one. Got a really strong relationship with Zane Littlejohn, who's just come across from Hawthorn, 193 centimetres, a little bit undersized. All of our key defenders seem to be a smidge undersized. But I think the talent is undeniable if we could actually bring him through the door.
Yeah, well, with Sarong, like, we've got Will Dawson, Charlie Comben as those 200-centimetre key defenders. And then he's that third tall kind of thing who can lock down. Because you have a look at Brisbane, they've got Darcy Gardner, who's a similar size. He's a similar size to like a Jack Henry from Geelong and all those type of players. So I don't necessarily agree we need the really big gorilla because he can play tall and he is and play that role that often goes unheralded at some of the successful clubs, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. One quick one, Luke, before I let you go. If you're looking beyond Jai Sarong, and you kind of want to keep your options open, anything can happen during trade period. All these things move so quickly and change so quickly. We saw what an impact Jack Darling was able to have in the forward line and the structure and the flow and the functionality of the forward line. Same with Luke Parker in the midfield. would you look at a more experienced veteran key defender, potentially bring him in for a couple of seasons, get him to work alongside the likes of a Whitlock or a Will Dawson, get them kind of up to speed and ready to go, and then, move on and hand the reins over?
Potentially. Depends on if they're the right fit or not. Because we have had Tomlinson in the VFL kind of play that role, who can be that mentor who's a bit more experienced and played in successful backlines as well, which has been handy. I don't know how many are out there. Like, I wouldn't go near Stephen May or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know who else would be an option in that space, but it's something that would interest me.
I think I would really be keen on exploring a Jake Lever. I think that could be an unpopular opinion as well. But he's in his early 30s, very solid defender at both Adelaide and Melbourne. I think he'd be someone, obviously, it depends what we'd have to give up for him financially specifically. But he'd definitely be one that, if available, that's an avenue I'd be really keen to explore.
Yeah, but I think it's more the lockdown that we need, because we have got Common who plays that intercept role. Lever's not the greatest lockdown defender. He plays that intercept role as well, I think.
Yeah.
But if we did go down that path, it wouldn't upset me at all.
I think Charlie's one-on-one defending definitely improved this season. It may not be his strongest suit still, but I definitely thought his one-on-one defending was a lot stronger. I think by the looks of things, the back line is working towards more of a zone and playing as more of a collective than that traditional one-on-one, rightly or wrongly. I have to leave that in the hands of Clarko. It looks like there's going to be a lot to play out in this trade period. Thank you so much, Luke, for jumping on and discussing your initial thoughts with me. And hopefully we're catching up again in a few weeks' time. And it's a very happy recap from a big, big trade period for North. Callum, welcome to Kanga TV and to the first North Melbourne Opinion here on the channel. How are you going?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me. I think from the club, I think we're in a good place for the first time in a good while. I think after the season that's gone past, we're actually trending in an upward direction and actually going pretty far up, which is a good thing that I like to see. I think in terms of the trade period, I think I might be one of the few people here who think we don't need to actually attack it. We don't need to attack it as good as what we did last year. I think we're in a comfortable position with where we need to be with players and who we want at the club at the moment.
Okay, so there've been a lot of names connected to North Melbourne over the past probably week to 10 days in particular, all different positions on the ground, all different abilities and capabilities and potential. Are there any names in your mind that stick out as, yep, I think North should definitely target them? Or do you think if we let some of these names just kind of go past us, we won't be too badly impacted come round one next year?
I think a lot of the defenders that have been thrown around that have been linked to us, I think Jordan Butts, Jai Sarong, I think even Stephen May has been kind of thrown here and there. I think those are the kind of guys we need to land at least one of them. I think defense is where we've been sorely lacking across the last couple of years, and especially this year as well. I think as long as we can kind of plug up like a good, solid, tall key defender, that's going to solve a lot of issues for the club.
With the key defenders, we've obviously got Matt Whitlock and Will Dawson coming through the ranks. We saw a little bit of Will throughout the season. Matt played one game in defense and one game in attack, but he was either the sub starting or ending off as the sub. They're probably still a few years away. Do you think when we're looking at these key defenders who we've been linked to, do you go the route of like a Jack Darling? You've got someone in there to plug the hole for a couple of years, teach the guys around him, help develop the newcomers, and then let the up-and-comers take over? Or are you looking at someone a little bit of a younger profile who we can actually invest in for the medium to longer term future?
I think ideally you kind of want someone in the sweet spot between the two, because I think what we've got now, we've got a lot of old guys, either like Aiden Core, Griffin Logue, even Toby Pink to an extent, they're right there. They're providing a good stopgap for now, but they're not going to be there in about 5-10 years. Likewise, I think we're doing pretty good so far with young stock like Matt Whitlock or Taylor Goad or other tall prospects we've got. So we probably want to look at in that kind of like middle area.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think Jai Sarong's probably the name that piques my interest the most amongst all of them that have been thrown around, particularly the relationship with Zane Littlejohn, who's just come across as a development coach, and probably a bit of specialising as well. What do you think about a potential acquisition of Sarong?
I think he's definitely the biggest name. I think that we definitely should be chasing. Whether or not Hawthorn want to play ball with him or not, because he is. I know he didn't feature a lot this year. I don't think he has. Sorry, I don't think he featured at all. But he's still a big name around there. I think they want to keep him pretty much close to their club. So we might need to pony up a little bit more for him. But I think it's probably worth the investment.
I think so. I think there's definitely a lot to play out. It's going to be a very long 2 weeks, but hopefully we're coming out on the other side better than when we've gone into it. Damien, welcome to Kanga TV. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Very well. Thanks, Marnie. Thanks for having me. Well, look, I think it's no secret that defenders is something that we desperately need. And I'm just hoping that it's something that we can perhaps do in terms of maybe prying out someone like a Jai Sarong, for example, from Hawthorn. I think someone like him is very much the sort of needs that we have. I think, potentially if we could get another 2 defenders, I think that would be good. Ones that are a little bit older, but not too old. I really feel that we've got the likes of the Will Dawsons, who I think are going to be good players, but are probably not yet ready to take that step. But at the other end of the scale, I don't really think we need to go for someone like a Stephen May as an example. I feel that's too old for where we're at. That would be my view as far as the defence goes. Interesting that our captain has expressed a view that he'd like to have a look around. To be quite honest, I've got some fairly definite views with regards to Jai, and that is that I don't believe Jai's in our best midfield. But like some players at other clubs that have seen success and been prepared to move positions, I really feel that Jai needs to do that. I think he should be playing wherever the side needs him most. And so playing outside of the midfield, I feel, is the right way to go. If Jai doesn't want to accept that, then my view would be that we trade him and we just get the best possible deal that we can, and potentially turn that into the sort of defender that we need. Because I can really see that as we get better, Jai may not be in our best 22. That's just my opinion with him.
With Jai, I think it's a super interesting conversation. I've spoken about it a lot in the past couple of weeks on the channel. Thinking about his 2 performances on the wing in the last 2 games of the season, I'd argue they were 2 of the best performances of anyone on the wing across our season. And we've had quite a few players rotating through those wings across the year. I think you're right in that sometimes you do need to make sacrifices for the greater good of the team, particularly a captain. If he does stay at North Melbourne, I think for what it's worth, it's more likely that he stays than he goes. Do you think he should keep the captaincy next year?
I don't think there's any way that he can be captain on the basis that, if you're looking to get out, if what we've been told is true, in that I'm going to explore my options because I'm not getting midfield time. To me, that just smells of just sooking, and it doesn't show leadership. If you're the captain, you're the leader, you're the visionary. I don't actually think Jai's a particularly great captain. it's probably been difficult because he's led through a difficult period, and I acknowledge that. But he doesn't strike me as someone that says, "Come follow me, come play for me." He doesn't strike me as that sort of individual. I would not hesitate in making Harry Sheezel the captain of the club now. And the reason for that is because Harry's attitude is, I'm here to win. I am a winner. I train like a winner. I play like a winner. I behave like a winner. And I expect you to do the same. And successful clubs do that. Successful clubs have players, have leaders who demand from their players. Harry sets the example. I don't believe he's too young to be captain, just like Nick Dacos could captain Collingwood right now. These people, they're rare commodities who say, just follow me. So that would be what I would be doing. And I would be saying to Jai, welcome back with open arms. But here's the deal. If you're going to be in our best 22 and you're not going to be playing seconds, you're going to have to play where we want you to play. And not only that, you're going to have to play well. So, I've followed this club for 50 years. I've seen some wonderful times and some poor times like we are going through right now. But you have to demand standards, really, really strong standards of one another. And the captain saying he's going to explore his options, to me, smacks of someone who is more about self than team. So he can no longer be captain for mine.
I'll ask you one more question, Damien, because you've been great. Do you think Jai being captain at the moment makes him undroppable? And do you think if he wasn't captain next season, that could change?
Yes, I do. And it's look, I actually wonder whether or not part of the club's thinking was that by not playing Jai on the ball and him feeling the way he's feeling, that it would provide them with an opportunity of getting rid of him. Because if you can believe what's been reported, that he's got another 4 years at around about $1 million, I think a lot of us would suggest, if that's the truth, that he's been paid overs for what he's worth. And the club probably signed him up to that deal because they were looking for some stability and the like. But I think things have moved on. Now, we're now firmly cemented in the Clarkson era, which is it's my way or it's the highway. And that means it's all about team. I know for a fact Luke Hodge was moved out of the midfield by Clarko so that Hawthorn could become the team they became. Now, Luke wasn't that happy about it, but he accepted it for the greater good. Now, this is the same sort of example, but I really do feel if Jai isn't captain, then the acid will be on him to retain a spot in the team. No guarantees. And I think that is a good thing.
Clark, welcome to Kanga TV. Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
first ever North Melbourne Opinion here on the channel. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problems. Glad to be here. I guess I'm nervous. You know, I've been around long enough and seen enough trade periods to know that there's a lot of water still to go on in the bridge. There's still a lot of things going on that you're not aware of. But yeah, nervous. You know, I'm not sure where we're going to go. I'm not sure where we are. And there's obviously names get thrown out and suggested. And, you know, then from both sides, you know, North players put up and then other teams players put up and just not sure what to think of it all yet. And yeah, you just don't want to have a period where you feel like either you missed out or feel like you're hard done by, I guess. So yeah.
A lot of noise
Yeah.
in the lead up to the trade period and even around trade period. I feel like the obvious moves happen straight away, and then majority of the drama is saved for the last hour of trade period. Charlie Spargo a couple of weeks ago
Yep.
told the D's that he would like to go to the free agency and come to North and exercise his right as a free agent. North then publicly acknowledged it and said that they would work with the D's in the trade period to make that happen.
Yeah, again, it's mixed. You know, I remember his good footy was good. You know, that D's premiership year, he was good. You know, he was really handy. He had that sort of small forward, kind of high forward role that I think was good, and it provided a link for them, and it was good pressure. And you know, you think, okay, yeah, that's something that we could probably use a bit more. You know, Jacob's been good this year in doing a little bit of that, and we've got, I guess, our small forwards maybe a bit more of your lead up smalls, you know, Harveys and Curtises and stuff like that. So, you know, his good footy'd be good, but obviously his good footy wasn't this year, and his good footy was mixed last year. So, um, there's a soft spot for, you know, his dad was at North as well. So, you know, it's always nice seeing more North people and good North people around. But yeah, mixed. I'm not sure how much good footy he's got left, but if he can get back to that, I think it's something that we probably could use with.
I want to touch on the romance between bringing the Spargo name back to North Melbourne, because I personally think for a club like North Melbourne, the connection between players or coaches or staff, especially in these key roles, and the club is quite underrated. I think North, we aren't necessarily a destination club in terms of crowds and numbers and all that sort of stuff, but I think everyone from supporters all the way through, there's something really special about the club and the connection that we do have with the club. We really feel like we're contributing to something great. Do you think that that connection for Charlie would potentially motivate him to bring the best footy out of himself?
Oh, that's a really good question. Um, I'll answer it in two parts. I think, yeah, there is something romantic about North. There is a sense of a community about North, and with supporters and staff and players, everything. I think people know that, maybe not as much now. I think maybe for the older fans and sort of past players and stuff, you know, the experience of seeing the old Kanga Casino and the way Narvan Street used to be in the old days, and everyone sort of chipped in and helped out and did those kind of things to make it work. You know, you just did what it was, and I think North had that, and I think there is something from those past that brings everyone together and makes a sense of the club. So, you know, his dad would have been around those days, and I guess maybe he's grown up with having kind of that place in there. And I know you've had people on here before that've spoken about family connections to club in the past that has that romantic side. So yeah, I think there is that exists definitely with North, maybe more so than some other clubs. And then will it bring out his best? I don't know. I mean, we've got other, I guess, father sons and stuff within the club as well that have been around and are their best footy here. I don't know if we like. I think Cooper Harvey this year showed signs of coming through, and it took a while. So whether we'll get the best out of him, I'm not sure. But I think with any people, if you want to be somewhere and you're happy to be somewhere, and that's where your heart is, then you will work harder to be there, and you do better when you're happy. So if that's what's a driver, then yeah, hopefully that is. Hopefully it's not just pay packet or you know, whatever it is to try and extend the career. But yeah, if that is genuine what it is, then I think, you know, you'll get better out of him than if it wasn't.
A lot of names have been floated around already ahead of the trade period, a lot of names connected to North. Anyone else in particular that's caught your eye?
I saw today that Clayton Oliver was thrown around again. That was interesting. It's just sorry he got told to look elsewhere, and already seen reports of, you know, him and Jai being mates. So you know, that's interesting already. But yeah, I saw. I mean, early, even a few weeks ago now, Callum Wilkie's name very briefly was brought up, which unrealistic, but that would have been amazing. I do like. I think it's Dry Sarong at Hawthorn being linked. I really do like that. I think that's something that would be handy. I guess that sort of medium tall to tall kind of defender is something that we need extra to down there. I think it frees up Charlie Common a little bit as well, which would be really handy. and then gives a chance for sort of Will and stuff to come through and has a younger core really together. Jai's still pretty young, so that's someone that I'd really like. Young from Richmond, I thought would have been good as well, but I saw he just nominated Fremantle, so that's one to miss out on that I thought would have been pretty good. And Windhager I thought would have been amazing as well. He was probably my number one. But again, so many things you don't know whether it's just agents posturing around rather than actual word. So you don't know yet. And I think a lot will come still in the next week or two. That we don't
100%.
even know about. Yeah.
It's going to be a very, very busy 10 days. A lot potentially to play out that we know about. And as you said, probably a lot that we still don't know about and yet to come to fruition. Damo, the footy mailbag, and Freo Fanatic, welcome back to Kanga TV. Your second time on the channel this year. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Thanks for having me back. I'm glad I didn't scare you off.
No, never. We're such good friends. We go back a long, long time, and any opportunity I can to talk footy with my mates, I will take that opportunity. We were just having a chat off air quickly, and we were having a chat earlier today as well. Obviously, most of the people coming through and having a chat today are North fans giving their thoughts on the trade period. But when we initially started talking about this concept, I had a light bulb moment because Jai Sarong is a name that has been brought up multiple times from multiple fans, either in this video and across socials, and even in the mainstream media in the lead up to the trade period. But for those who have seen, Brad Klebanski joined me for one of our usual catch-ups, and that video went out early last week. And he said to me, Hawthorn supporter, that he feels the only thing potentially standing in North's way from securing Jai Sarong is his desire to play with brother Caleb, of course, at Fremantle. So we've had this discussion, and I just wanted to have a chat with you about it for the fans, how you as a Fremantle supporter see the Jai Sarong situation playing out.
Yeah, so mid-season, if you had asked a Hawthorn supporter who was in the know, they pretty much thought by mid-season Jai Sarong was heading to Fremantle and playing there in 2026. Now that Judd McVie has requested a trade to Fremantle, that kind of makes it a little more difficult unless Jai Sarong becomes a delisted free agent, which you would think is unlikely. He's just won Box Hill's best and fairest. He was named at centre-half back in the VFL Team of the Year. Hawthorn's not going to let go of that very easily by delisting them. They would want something back for Jai Sarong. And I mean, I see Jai Sarong and go, I don't know where he fits at Fremantle other than being on the same list as his brother. And I know a couple of seasons ago they brought in the third Sarong as a supplement period train on player.
Yep.
And it didn't work out. But I mean, Caleb Sarong is kind of the run to the litter, it seems, because Jai Sarong is a key defender and the other one's a key forward. So there's obviously talent across the board, but Jai Sarong seems to be the next in line, and North could use a guy like Jai Sarong more than Freo could, I feel. But does he want to go there, and does he want to be that second banana to Charlie Comben or Toby Pink and allow those other guys to roll off and sort of, rebound more for North Melbourne? So yeah, so I think Jai Sarong, he's got a decision. Does he want to be in the best 22, best 23 from day one where he ends up, or does he want to work into a team that's got some guys aging out like Luke Ryan and Alex Pearce?
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, Jai Sarong fits into our best 23 tomorrow, as you said.
Yeah.
For me, Fremantle, I mean, to be honest, I don't think Fremantle need drastic improvement across any line. I think their list itself is in prime position now to really have a crack at a flag. Whether that comes to fruition in the next few seasons or not, it's another discussion and something for another day. I think that the desire for Jai to play with Caleb, how strong is it? I think that's really going to be a big part of what it comes down to. He's already part of a very successful Box Hill program. Hawthorn, they acquired Battle and Barras at the end of last season in the trade period. So to break into that backline, I mean, Sam Frost, who had an excellent 2023, 2 seasons later is now delisted at the end of 2025. So Jai, dual Box Hill VFL Best and Fairest winner, VFL Team of the Year, as you mentioned, would be a great fit for North. I think there is a bit of a connection growing there by the day. And I am sort of with you. I feel like Fremantle could be the only strong option probably standing in our way at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that hasn't been mentioned is how strong Box Hill's VFL program is. Like we've seen, if we go back years and years, Sam Switkowski was recruited out of Box Hill's system, and so was Lockie Schultz. And then you fast forward half a century, and then Max Hall is running around at St Kilda, also out of the Box Hill program. So it's a strong VFL program that creates AFL ready players. And if Jai Sarong is winning the Box Hill Best and Fairest and also being named at centre half back in the VFL Team of the Year, that just speaks to the kind of quality of player that a team that needs him will be getting if that's the way he goes. So if North Melbourne get him, he's going to instantly improve North Melbourne's defence. I see the door more open for Jai Sarong to enter a 23 going to a team like North Melbourne than going to Fremantle. But like Brad said, like you mentioned, he always wants to play with his brother. So then that gets into the next question. Caleb Sarong, after next season, only has 12 months left on his contract. Does North Melbourne come after him as a pre-agent and try and pair the brothers together if they do get Jai Sarong? Like this
That's
is the kind
juicy. That
like
is juicy.
like these are the kind of questions that come into play if Jai Sarong then chooses North.
Wow. That is the first time I've thought about that.
I hate that I brought it up now.
I like it. This is a North Melbourne fan channel, Damo. It's the wrong place to feed that sort of delusion.
I mean, if I'm gonna be fair, the Dockers do have Toby Wan from their NGA Academy coming through this draft, and then next draft they've got pretty much a Tom Green clone in Lucas Robinson coming through. So if they were going to get rid of Caleb Sarong, this year or next year or even the year after would be the time to do it with these guys coming through.
Looks like there could be a lot to play out, not just in this trade period, but in the next few trade periods. Damo, thank you so much for jumping on. Your insight is appreciated as always, and no doubt you'll be back on the channel sooner rather than later to talk about North Melbourne superstar Caleb Sarong.
He's remaining at Freo, I'm sorry to say. I might eat my words.
I'll keep tabs on that, and I'll be checking in with you. Don't worry.
I know you, Marnie. You keep receipts.
Once again, massive thank you who did jump on and record with me on such short notice, and thank you guys for being here week in, week out. Every single video, the love and support is absolutely overwhelming, and Kanga TV wouldn't be what it is without you guys. Again, I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings on this one. Feel free to leave them all in the comments below, or we can continue the conversation over on socials, Kanga TV Show, across Instagram, Facebook, X, and on email. I look forward to doing the trade period with all of you. I can't believe Christmas has come for all North Melbourne fans at once. Every single move and every single bit of information, we will try and cover as much of it in as much detail as possible here on Kanga TV. I look forward to doing the next couple of weeks with you as always. Go Roos.